Hi everyone, back today with another video. I had a commenter suggest an add-on called CraftSim, and I've been having a bit of a play with it. And I just thought I'd show you how it's working for me. It's actually saving a bit of time in terms of calculations for figuring out whether or not it's profitable to buy things off the auction house and then turn that into an item I can create. So I just thought I'd show you here what it's doing and how it's working for me. I don't think it's completely fail safe. I do think that on occasion it has problems. Like it has like a discrepancy between what I'm seeing on the auction house and what it's saying. But I think for the most part, it's pretty full. It's pretty right. So I just thought I'd run a couple of test runs because it's telling me at the moment that if I make weaver cloth bolts, I will make a little bit of profit. If I buy the things off the auction house and then make those weaver cloth bolts. So, and same for dusk weave. So I'm giving it a go here in this video to show you, and we can see whether or not it actually makes profit together. It's been working for my enchants, and this is the first time I've kind of given it a go with my tailoring. Doing this has made me realize I need to put more knowledge points into being able to make the higher quality bolts. So I'm going to be doing that going forward. But I just thought I'd do it here for this video. That way, if it doesn't work, it's just my gold. And if it does work, you guys can go do it with your gold. So I just thought we'd have a look here. So I'm going to head over to my craft station, and as always, I'm going to check for public orders because they're a really fast way to make a lot of gold, especially if you get some with good tips. And people are starting to realize that if they don't put those higher tips in, their order sits there for a while. There aren't as many people kind of desperate to fill them. People are willing, when you only get 4 a week, people are willing to kind of hold out and see if some with better tips come through. So I'm just going to do my patron orders really quick because I realized that this shows me whether or not I'm making profit, even when I'm using my own materials. So there are some orders here where I do use the materials provided, but there's other orders where I'm using materials that they're giving me. So I just thought I'd show you here what I'm doing, and it's a really good way to do these calculations. So it's definitely been helpful at a bare minimum for these patron orders. Even if you're not using it for anything else, knowing which patron orders you can make for a profit, and it doesn't register what you're getting out of the bag. So remember to take that into account. It doesn't know what's in the bag. It can't tell you what it's worth. But just in a general sense, with the cloth versus the little tip you get, it's been really helpful for that. So you can see on the side here, after I've done these orders, it thinks I've made about 752 gold profit just from filling those patron orders. And that was a bit of a surprise for me. You can see here, it says that my profit is 900 gold on this order, and I just don't think that's correct. So like I said, it doesn't always, it isn't always correct. This is me realizing I need to put more knowledge points into that spell thread spec. Now that I can do a bit of everything with my concentration, I think that's maybe where the gold is here. Being able to turn those duskweave and dawnweave bolts into something more impressive. So I'm just making the weaver thread out of the bolts of the weaver cloth essentially. And you can see here my session profit is already going down. So, this could have been a bad call, which is why it's better as my gold than your gold. But you can see here that it's going down, and that could be just perhaps I should have double checked myself instead of just believing the thing on the auction house. It could have also been that when I first checked it before I started recording this video and after, there could have been a change in prices. Like somebody could have listed lower or bought up to a certain point. But you can see here, I've gone from in profit to negatives in doing these bolts. So the weaver cloth ones are definitely not the way to go. It was probably better if you have the ability to buy the silver ones or even the bronze ones and then turn them into gold bolts. That's probably where the money is, and that's probably why that is why I'm going to put more attention into increasing the knowledge points in that talent tree. So yeah, that's definitely food for thought there. You can see here I lost quite a bit of gold according to this in making those bolts. Now I didn't buy the exquisite weaver cloth bolts off the auction house. I already had them in my bag, but the thing is supposed to take into account how much it would cost to buy it outright. So when we go down into the duskweave bolts, it should tell you how much it costs to craft, which is apparently 383 gold. and how much profit I'm going to make when I list each of these bolts on the auction house. And that's not counting for things like uh, the multi-craft or getting regions back. So you can see here, there's a couple of times I'm in the negative, but then when I proc the multi-craft, I get a bit more in terms of profit, which kind of helped carry me through back into profit after that weaver cloth problem there. So definitely specking into the concentration there for these builds, I think would be helpful. And that is what I'm going to do going forward. I think also I'm going to turn my dusk weave into bolts before listing them on the auction house when I do my cloth runs for future. Just because obviously it is a way to make a little bit more gold. It does mean I have to make the exquisite weaver cloth bolts, so checking it is probably a good idea to make sure you are in the profit. But once I finish making this, we're going to go list it on the auction house and just have a look and see. So that's all of the things. You've seen that I came from a negative number into a positive 1,300 there. So I'm going to head over to the auction house and we'll just see versus what I actually spent and what I listed. Remembering I did not buy those exquisite weaver cloth bolts. I already had them. I probably should have bought the exquisite weaver cloth bolts right from the beginning, and I didn't think to check that. And I will perhaps remake this video in a couple of days once my charges are back up, just to see whether or not we make anything there. So we paid 3,365 gold for that dusk weave, and I'm listing it here for 6,525 gold. I'm just going to log in now and check how much the weaver cloth is and record it. We'll just have to remember that this did happen probably 30 minutes after I recorded this video, so the price may have changed, but it will help us figure out whether or not it was actually in the profit. So this is that future check where I go and see how much the exquisite weaver cloth is. We could make 12 charges. I know we got more than 12 of the dusk weave cloth because of the multi-craft proc, but we could make 12 charges and they require 2 exquisite weaver cloth per charge. So we needed 24 exquisite weaver cloth to make the amount of bolts that we did. So I'm seeing how much 24 costs right now. So you can see it was 1,247 gold, which means we did actually make a profit on this. We made 1,919 gold just on the dawn weave flip. I don't think we made much on the weaver cloth bolts, and I'll go back and double check that and say what it is for you guys. But really, it's the dawn weave you need to be making. The dusk weave you need to be flipping if that's what you're looking at here. If you've got I am spec'd into the multi-craft proc, not for dusk weave. There is one where you can make more out of the charges, but yeah, so definitely go and look at that if you haven't already. The weaver cloth to weaver cloth bolts lost me some money, so don't do that. Definitely look at the dusk weave and perhaps storm weave at times. It does seem to have a lower value at present than the dusk weave, but definitely check both. I'm just going to show you quickly the enchanting version of this. I've been using it for enchanting for a while now, and I can't help myself. I need to go to my mailbox and get my other things because that's just who I am. Like, I just don't like stuff left in my mailbox. So here I am learning the things I got from those Patron points because that's what I'm doing apparently right now. Squirrel brain, that's all I can say really. So now that we've got to see an example of my ADD in full force, let's have a look at the craft sim and how it looks on enchanting. So you do need TSM or Auctionator to make this work to show you the profit. And you do need to visit the auction house to get it to register, which is the struggle I was having initially here. I couldn't get it to register the prices because I hadn't gone and checked the auction house. So yeah, make sure you do that before going to your crafting stations. Like I said before, this isn't fail-safe and you should still be using it with sense. If something seems unbelievable in either direction in terms of price, go and double check it just to be sure. But this is a pretty easy way of you can see here, I'm going through and I'm clicking on all of the things I can make and it's telling me how much it's going to cost to craft it and whether or not I'll make a profit. You can see here, this one is ridiculous. It's saying I'm going to make 15,000 gold on a rod. And that's obviously, it's picked up something on the auction house. And that's, I'm not going to make 15,000 gold on that rod. So just, use sense. I am using the Crystalline Radiance enchants. They are making the most gold for me right now. I know it's saying that I didn't. And when you go see the auction house at the end of this, it does list and it has sold for more gold than it's saying. This is the first time you could see First Craft. I've made the Chant of Winged Grace, and I was surprised that one of these lower end chants was actually making gold. It hasn't sold yet, to be honest. I don't know. I'll let you know if it sells. But it is actually making about 500 gold profit, and it's one of the easier ones to make. And I got a First Craft while I was there. So I did make that, and I have listed it on the auction house, and I will set it on favorites now, in my enchanting thing and on my auction house, just to monitor the price and see whether or not it's true for value. Because for a level silver enchant without any concentration, that's a pretty good price. So that's what I'll be looking at in the future. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe. It's free for you and it's super helpful for me, and that would just be really, really great. So go and check out this Craft Sim add-on, and let me know what your thoughts are. I think it's going to be helpful with doing the math side of this. I was an English teacher. Math is not my strength. But doing the math side of things involved in some of these auction house flips, especially when you've got a profession crafter. So let me know what your thoughts were. And if you've got any tips on how I can make this more efficient, that would be great. That's all for today. And as always, remember, girls don't play WoW.